Section 1 of Candle-Lightin Time. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Denise Ray, DeniseRayVoiceover.com. Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. Dinah kneading dough. I've seen full many a sight, born of day or drawn by night. Sunlight on a silver stream, golden lilies all a dream. Lofty mountains, bold and proud, veiled beneath the lace-like clouds. But no lovely sight I know equals Dinah kneading dough. Brown arms buried elbow deep, their domestic rhythm keep, as with steady sweep they go through the gently yielding dough. Maids may vaunt their finer charms, not to me like Dinah's arms. Girls may draw or paint or sew. I love Dinah kneading dough. Eyes of jet and teeth of pearl, hair, some say, too tight or curl, but the dainty maid I deem very near perfection's dream. Swift she works and only flings me a glance, the least of things, and I wonder, does she know that my heart is in the dough? End of section 1. Section 2 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray, DeniseRayVoiceover.com. Dat Ol Mare of mine. Want to trade me, do ya, mister? Oh, well, now, I reckon not. Why, you couldn't buy my sookie for 1,000 on the spot. Dat Ol Mare of mine? Yes, her coat a long and shaggy, and she ain't no shakes to see. Dat the ring bone. Yes, you're right, son. She got a ornery knee. But there ain't no use in talking. She the only hoss for me. Dat Ol Mare of mine. 'Cause I knows dat sookie contrary, and she mighty apt to vex. But you gotta make allowance for the nature of her sex. Dat Ol Mare of mine. If you pull her on the left hand, she plumb determined to go right. A cannon couldn't scare her, but she bound to take a fright at a piece o' common paper or anything that's white. Dat Ol Mare of mine. When my eyes commence to fail me, though, I trustes to her sight, and she'll tote me safe and homes on the very darkest night. Dat Ol Mare of mine. If I whoop her, she'll just switch her tail and settle to a walk. If I whoop her more, she'll shake her head, and like as not, she'll balk. But her sense ain't no ways lacking. She do everything but talk. Dat Ol Mare of mine. But she gentle as a lady when she know her beau can see, and she surely got more gumption any day than you or me. Dat Ol Mare of mine. She's a little slow a-going, and she mighty hard to start, but we getting old together, and she's closer to my heart. And I doesn't reckon, mister, that she scarcely care to part. Dat Ol Mare of mine. Why, I knows the times that cider kin muddle up my head. If it had been for sookie hair, I reckon I'd been dead. Dat Ol Mare of mine. But she got me in the middle of the road and took me home, and she wouldn't let me wander, no, she wouldn't let me roam. That's the kind of hoss to tie with, you see the cider's foam. Dat Ol Mare of mine. You can talk about your heaven, you can talk about your hell. There is people, there is houses, then there's cattle, then there's, well, dat Ol Mare mine. She the beaten tangs that even struck the maiders of the town. And though her head ain't fitting for to wear no golden crown, that ain't a blessed way for Peter for to turn my sookie down. Dat Ol Mare of mine. End of section 2. Section 3 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. A Spring Wooing. Come on, walk with me, Lucy. 'Tain't no time to mope around. When the sun shines, shouting glory in the sky, and the little Johnny jumping up just a springing from the ground, then a looking around to ask each other why. Don't you hear them cows a mooing? That's they howdy to the spring, and they looking most uncommon satisfied. It's enough to make a body want to spread their mouth and sing, just to see the critters all so sparkling eyed. Why, that squirrel that just run past us, if I didn't know his tricks, I could swear he got a religion just today. And them lizards slipping back and forth among the stones and sticks is a wiggling 'cause they feel so awful gay. Oh, I see your eyes are shining. Don't you try to make me believe that you ain't so monstrous happy 'cause you come. But I tell you, this here weather makes it mighty hard to see if a body so ain't blind and deaf and dumb. Roblin whistling over yonder as he built his little nest. What you reckon that he's saying to his mate? He's a saying that he love her in the words she knows best, and she look a mighty pleased at what he state. Now, Miss Lucy, dat old robin surely got his share of scent, and the hen-bird got her mother wit for true. So I think, if you'll excuse me, for I don't mean no offense, there's a lesson in them birds for me and you. I's a building on my cabin, and I vines above the door, for to kin old Jen its shelter from the sun. Going to have a little kitchen with a regular wooden floor, and there's be a back veranda when it's done. I's a waiting for you, Lucy. Take the example of the birds. That's a loving and a mating every way. I can't tell you that I love you in the robin's music words, but my cabin's talking for me over there. End of section 3. Section 4 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. The Old Front Gate. When there's chillin' in the house, they keep on a-gettin' tall, but the folks don't seem to see that they's growin' up at all, twell they find out some fine day that the gals has meant to grow, when they notice as they pass that the front gate's sagging low. When the hinges creak and cry and the bars go slanting down, you can reckon that it's time for you to case your eye around. 'Cause there ain't no sputting this. It's the true signs to show that there's courting going on when the old front gate sags low. Oh, you grumble and complain and you prop the gate upright, but you notice right next day that it's in the same old plight. So you fin to hit's a rule, and there ain't no use to blow when the gals is growing up that the front gate will sag low. Didn't you think on your young days when you courted Sally Jane, and you sort of feel ashamed for to grumble and complain, 'cause your recollection says that you know its words is so, that her pappy had a time with his front gate sagging low. So you just looks on and smiles at them leaning on the gate, trying to think what he can say for to keep him there so late. But you let that gate alone, for your spirits go to show, till the gals is married off, is gonna keep on sagging low. End of section 4. Section 5 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. Fishin'. When I get up in the morning and the clouds is big and black, there's a kind of warning shiver goes a-scootin' down my back. Then I says to my old woman, as I watches down the lane, "Don't you sort of reckon, Lizzie, that we're going to have some rain?" "Go on, man," my Lucy answers. "You can't fool me not a bit. I don't see no rain a-comin'. If you wishing for it, quit. 'Cause the more you think about it and the more you pray and wish, why the rain stay way the longer, 'specially if you wants to fish." But I see her pat the skillet, and I see her cakes her eye, with a kind of anxious motion to this darkness in the sky. And I knows what she a-thinking, though she tries so hard to hide. She's a-saying, "Wouldn't a catfish now taste monstrous belly fried?" Then the clouds get black and blacker, and the thunder ments to roll, and the rain hit ments a falling. Oh, I's happy, bless my soul, as I look at that old skillet, and I imagine I can see just a slew of new catch catfish sizzling there for her and me. 'Tain't no use to going a-plowing, for the ground'll be too wet. So I puts out for the big house at a mighty pace, you bet. And old master say, "Well, Lucius, if you think it's going to rain, go on fishing. It's the weather, and I know we can't complain." Talk about a darky walking with his head up high in the air. Have to feel mine every minute to be sure I got it there. For the wind is cutting capers and slashing through the trees. But the rain keeps on a-singing blessed songs like "Take Your Ease." With my pole upon my shoulder and my warm can in my hand, I can feel the fish a-waiting when I strikes the river sand. Never mind, you horny scoundrels, need to swim around and grin. I'll be grinning in a minute when I mince to haul you in. When the fish begin to nibble and the cork begin to jump, I's feared they'll quit their biting 'cause they hear my heart go thump. 'Twell the cork go way down under, and I raise a awful shout, is a big old yellow belly comes a gallivanting out. Needn't wriggle, Mr. Catfish, 'cause I got you just the same. You been eatin', I'll be eatin', and we neither ain't to blame. But you needn't feel so lonesome, for's I'll throw out to sea, if there ain't some of your comrades for to keep you company. Sport? This fishin', now you talkin', way down ain't no kind to beat. I do care if I is soaking legs and back and neck and feet. It's the sport I lookin' after. It's the pleasure and the fun. Though I knows that Lizzie waitin' with the skillet when I's done. End of section 5. Section 6 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. when they listed colored soldiers. They was talking in the cabin, they was talking in the hall, but I listened kinda careless, not a thinking 'bout it all. And on Sunday, too, I noticed they was whispering mighty much, standing all around the roadside when they let us out to church. But I didn't think about it twell the middle of the week, and my Lewis come to see me, and somehow he couldn't speak. Then I seed all in a minute when he come to see me for they had listed colored soldiers and my Lewis gone to war. Oh, I hugged him and I kissed him and I begged him not to go. But he told me that his conscience, it was calling to him so, and he couldn't bow to linger when he had a chance to fight for the freedom they had gone him at the glory of the right. So he kissed me and he left me when I promised to be true. And they put a knapsack on him and a coat all colored blue. So I give him Pap's old Bible from the bottom of the drawer when they listed colored soldiers and my Lewis went to war. But I thought of all the weary miles that he would have to tramp, and I couldn't be contented when they took him to the camp. Why, my heart nigh broke with grieving twell I seed him on the street. Then I felt like I could have thrown my body at his feet. For his buttons was a-shining, and his face was shining too, and he looked so strong and mighty in his coat of soldier blue, that I hollered, "Step up, Manny," though my throat was sore and raw, when they listed colored soldiers and my Lewis went to war. Old Miss cried when Master left her. Young Miss mourned her brother Ned, and I didn't know the feelings in the very words they said. When I told them I was sorry, they had done gone up they all, but they only seemed more prouder that they men had heard the call. Both my masters were in gray suits, and I loved the Yankee blue, but I thought that I could sorrow for them losing of them too. But I couldn't, for I didn't know the half of what I saw. 12, they listed colored soldiers, and my Lewis went to war. Master Jack come home all sickly. He was broke for life, they said. And they left my poor young master somewheres on the roadside, dead. When them women cried and mourned him, I could feel it through and through, for I had loved them fighting in the way of danger too. Then they told me they had laid him somewheres down south to rest, with the flag that he had fit for shining there across his breast. Well, I cried, but then I reckon that's what God had called him for, when they listed colored soldiers and my Lewis went to war. End of section 6. Section 7 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Lullaby. Cover up your head, my little lady. Hear the wind a-blowing out of doors? Don't you get near project with the comfort, lest frost bite your little toes. Shut your eyes and snuggle up to Mammy. Give me both your hands. I hold 'em tight. Don't you be afraid and minutes to tremble, that's as soon as I blows out the light. Angels is a minding you, my baby, keeping out the bad man in tonight. What the use of being scared of nothing? You don't think the darkness going to bite? What's that cracking sound you're hearing around you? Lordsy, child, you tickles me to death. That's the man what brings the frost and painting pictures on the window with his breath. Mammy ain't afraid. You hear her laughing. Go away, Mr. Frost. You can't come in. Baby ain't receiving folks this evening. Reckon that you'll have to call again. Curl your little toes up so, my possum. But you's a cunning one for true. Go to sleep. Angels is a watching, and your mammy's minding of you too. End of section 7. Section 8 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. Song of Summer. This is gospel weather show. Hills sorta hazy, meadows level as a flow. Calling to the lazy, sky all white with streaks of blue, sunshine softly gleaming. There ain't no work here rights to do. Nothing right but dreaming. Dreaming by the riverside with the waters glistening, feeling good and satisfied. As you lay listening to the little naked boys splashing in the water, hollering for to express their joys, just like youngsters oughta. Squirrels are tipping on his toes, so to hide and view you. Whole flocks of camp-meeting crows shouting, "Hallelujah!" Peckerwood opened the tree, tapping like a hammer. Jaybird chatting with a bee, trying to teach him grammar. Breeze is blowing with perfume, just enough to tease you. Hollyhocks is all in bloom, smelling for to please you. Go away, folks, and let me alone. Times is getting dearer. Summer setting on the throne, and I'm a layin' here near her. End of section 8. Section 9 of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Denise Ray. Denise Ray, voiceover.com. At Candle-Lightin Time. When I come in from the cornfield, after working hard all day, it's amazing nice to find my supper all upon the way. And it's nice to smell the coffee bubbling over in the pot. And it's fine to see the meat a sizzling, teasing like and hot. But when supper time is over and the things is cleared away, then the happy hours that follow are the sweetest of the day. When my corncob pipe is started and the smoke is drawing prime, my old woman says, "I reckon, Ike, it's candle-lightin' time." Then the children snuggle up to me and all commence to call, "Oh, say, Daddy, now it's time to make the shadows on the wall." So I puts my hands together, every daddy knows the way, and the children snuggle up close round as I begin to say. First thing Here come Mr. Rabbit. Don't you see him work his ears? Uh-huh, this must be a donkey. Look how innocent he peers. That's the old black swan a-swimming. Ain't she got a awful neck? Who's this fella that a-comin'? Why, that's old dog Tray, I expect. That's the way I run on, trying for to please them all I can. Then I hollers, now be careful, here's the last, the booger man. And they runs and hides their faces. They ain't scared. They's letting on. But the play ain't ready over till that booger man is gone. So I just takes up my banjo and I plays a little tune. And you see them heads come peeping out to listen mighty soon. Then my wife says, "Sit your pappy for to give you such a fright. Just you go to bed and leave him. Say your prayers and say good night." End of section 9. End of Candle-Lightin Time by Laurence DUNBAR.